Recording as well. Okay. Okay. In the last class we have done with the chapter number 6, and you know that in the strategic management we were dealing with the three different phases of strategic management. Was the formulation stage, and fortunately, unfortunately, we have taken a long time to understand the formulation stage, and that formulation stage we have started from the chapter number 2. In this chapter number 2 we have done with the vision and mission formulation. Then we have performed the internal and external audit in the chapter number 3, chapter number 4. Then we established some objectives in chapter number 5, and then we gone to the chapter number 6 with some uh, formulation of strategies through some technical manner. So we are done with the formulation stage, and now we are in the implementation stage. That if the strategy is being selected, if the strategy is being designed in the formulation stage, so while implementing that strategies, what thought should be there, or how a manager should be thoughtful in implementing strategies in project in any organization. So chapter number 7 belongs to the implementation stage, and here we will see that manager of an organization, or a head of the organization, or a manager of a project, how he thinks while implementing these strategies. Okay, there are so many issues in the organization or a project while implementing strategies. But there is a difference between a strategy formulation stage and a strategy implementation stage. If you have observed that strategy formulation stage, we were positioning forces before the actions. Because obviously we have to take the decision, we had to take the strategy. So for that strategy, we were positioning forces before the actions. But here in implementation stage, we will be managing forces during the action, because implementation is an action stage. But, so far, we were formulating the strategies through some matrices, through some planning, through some policies, through some meetings with the managers. In that meeting with the managers, through some metrics kind of a technical calculation, we were designing the strategies. So in that designing the strategies, we were positioning the forces. It means that what kind of labor we will be using, what kind of machinery, what are the issues of the different functional areas of the organization. But here in implementation stage, we are doing some real actions and management of the available forces and resources. In formulation stage, the focus of ours was on effectiveness of the policy, but here at implementation stage, the focus are on the efficiency of the policy. Effectiveness, obviously, effectiveness is different with the efficiency. Effectiveness means that how the outcome would be coming into real picture, and the efficiency, that how the actions are doing according to the requirements. If our actions, if our activities are doing accordingly, then the activities are called efficient. But the outcome, if the outcome is not coming up to the mark, then the effectiveness is being questioned. In formulation stage, we needed primarily intellectuals, we needed the experts, we needed the managers, we needed the high up minds and people. But here in the implementation stage, it is primarily focusing on the operational issues, and obviously the working force is in a greater activity. And in formulation stage, we required good intuitive and analytical skills of managers. Obviously, I've told you in so many times that that the manager would help you, that the experts would help you. So those skills, those expertise would be helping in the formulation stage. But here you are requiring a special motivation and leadership skill, because you have once formulated strategy, but the completion of that strategy, completion of that implementation, leadership skills are required, because leader is a person who is taking desired actions from the labor. Let me see who is messaging me of your class. Okay, Ji. Formulation stage, it requires coordination of few people. Obviously, when you are making a strategy, when you are formulating a strategy and for planning, so there is no need to have a lot of people. You need to have just few expert opinions and few skillful people. But when the implementation is concerned, so you need a large number of employees and workers and front force employees, so you need so many people to implement the strategy. Now, what is the nature of strategy implementation? Strategy implementation process. सर मैंने आपको असाइनमेंट नहीं सेंड की थी. अच्छा नंबर कोई बात. ओके जी. Strategy implementation, chat class due to the khala has inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. Allah Taala आपकी खाला को जवार रहमत में जगह अता फरमाए. ठीक. सो मुझे नहीं पता आज की बात कर रहे हैं कि पहले की बात कर रहे हैं. एनीवे, अल्लाह ताला आपकी खाला को, मरहुमा को, अल्लाह ताला उनको जन्नतुल फिरदौस में जगह अता फरमाए और उनकी मग़फ़िरत फरमाए. So, strategy implementation problem can raise because of the shift of the responsibility, especially strategy formulation decisions come as the surprise to middle and the lower level managers. Therefore, it is essential to involve divisional and functional managers in the strategy formulation. So that is very much important question. If you think that your high up managers, they will be setting some strategy, but that strategy is not known by the functional managers, by those person who will be following that policy in real action. If they are not aware of the policy, so that obviously that strategy or that policy would be very surprising for them, and that should not be like that, because I have told you in some time that that manager is not a good manager who surprised with the activities, or who makes surprises for the labor or employees. So manager should not surprise himself. Manager should not surprise the employees. So that's why all the necessary stakeholders should be taken into consideration while the formulation stage, because if they know what the strategy is being formulated in the formulation stage, then they can come up with the good actions plan in the real playground. So you need to integrate your strategies with the divisional and functional managers. Now the management issues central to the strategy implementation. So there are some management issues which are central to the strategy implementation, because when you are going to implement the strategy, you have to think in bigger picture. You are dealing with so many things. So there are some points. I'll be explaining these points one by one. Let's say if you are implementing strategies, so first of all, you have to configure the annual objectives you have made, because all the planning, all the action plan that would be on the right track, it is necessary to have a very close look into the annual objectives, and on the basis of those annual objectives you have to allocate the resources, because objectives are quite clear, quite transparent in explanation. So those objectives obviously being aligned with the resource allocation problem, because if the objectives are not made, if the annual objectives are not taken into consideration, you don't know how many people you need, how many money you need, how many action you will be taking. So that's why annual objective shows you the line of direction where you allocate the resources, where you make a mechanism of the management evaluation, where the major instruments for the monitoring processes towards achieving long-term objectives, and you establish priorities. So obviously priorities are first, higher priorities for the organizational issues, then the second priorities for the divisional issues, and then the third priority would be given to the departmental issues. But when you are going to implement a strategy, so first of all you must convey the annual objectives to the functional managers, to the front force, because they have to come up with the information that what kind of target we are achieving, and according to that target you set your actions, your resource allocation, you devise mechanism for the evaluation processes, and you set the priorities. Meanwhile, if you find something to ask, you can ask anytime. Then the as I said that you need to allocate resources, so you know that the allocation of resources are of many times. There are financial resources, there are physical resources, human resources, technological resources. So you need to take care of all these resources, and you have to allocate these resources accordingly. Accordingly means that according to your target, because you may have a lot of money. It doesn't mean that the all of money should be in, sorry, what it is. Okay, you maybe have a lot of money, but it doesn't mean that the lot of money should be used at one time. Obviously you will be allocating resources, you will be allocating some money for the quarterly schedules, you need a bigger money for the annual schedules, you need a bigger money for the some long-term issues. So all these distribution and allocation of resources can be possible if your annual objective and target are accurately explained. Then managing conflicts, that is the very important issue, because whenever a real action plan is being implemented into the field, then conflicts may arise. Conflicts become arises among the people as well. They can be among the departments as well. They can be among the sections and divisions as well. So conflictings are also conflicting are not always bad thing, because conflicting people are not quarreling into in organization for themselves only. If they are having their own personal interest, their own personal issues, personal conflicts, so there is an other forum to discuss that issues. But if they are working and they are fighting for some policy and official issues, so these kind of a conflict are called good conflicts, because if some party, if some people are not happy with some decisions, so it means that the decision is not the decision is having some kind of serious issues. So those issues should be highlighted, those issues should be discussed, and those issues should be resolved, because if some conflicting issues in an organization not resolved, then your objectives, your achievements, your targets cannot be met easily. If you see that there is a political war in an organization, if that political war is to grab a position of the somebody, or making your own personal kind of interest. So this kind of political aims are not good for the organization. These kind of conflicts are not good conflicts. But if the conflicts are the sake of the organization, or the decision or the strategy are being questioned, so it means that those strategies, those policies for which some peoples are not happy, some peoples are making objections, so that must be heard, that must be taken into consideration for the proper and smooth functioning and proper and smooth accomplishment of the targets. Then matching the structure with the strategy. But this is very much important point, that when you have made the strategy, when you have made the policy, or a working track, future track for the work, so you have to uh, align your existing structure with that strategy. Let's say, it's for example, if you have planned to have some joint venture with other firm, but if that joint venture you don't have much money, for that joint venture you don't have that expertise in your field, if for that joint venture you are not fit the market, your organization is not fit for that joint venture. So obviously it is not to take only decision, it is not to establish only strategy, but you have to see that either your structure is well enough equipped, that the strategy or a policy can be followed up. So that's why structure largely dictates how the objectives and policy will be established. Objectives and policies established under the geographic organizational structure are couched in geographic term. A structure indicate how resources will be allocated. If an organization structure is based on the customer group, then the resources will be allocated in that manner. A structure should be designed to facilitate the strategic pursuit of all firm and therefore allow or follow strategy. When the firm changes its strategy, it's very much important point. When the firm changes strategy, the existing organization structure may become ineffective, because I said that you are working in a routine manner, and achanak, and suddenly you take a change, you opt in strategy, and your existing structure may not be capable, may not be adequate for your selected strategy. So you have to make some large and bigger changes in your organization. Then this is somewhat we call up a Candler strategy structure relationship. So this is not thing to explain here right now. Basic form of the structure, if you are a project management student, so you must be having an idea about the a pure structure, mixed structure, and matrix structure. So these may be a different kind of structure in your organization. One is called functional structure, one is called divisional structure. There are some strategic business unit structure and matrix structures. So these structures should be considered carefully, keenly, and then the necessary changes should be done according to the policy opted. When we are talking about the functional structure, so functional structure, we are having some different kind of functions, like we may be having marketing department, we may be having research and development department, HR department, IT department. We may have different kind of departments. So if we have different kind of departments and we have different kind of head of departments, so this is called functional structure. Your organization is being distributed in department according to the function, and their heads are called functional heads or functional managers. IT manager, HR manager, R&D manager, marketing manager. So these are called functional managers. But if you have opted some kind of a strategy where the structure is need to be changed, so you go for change. So let's say if you are making some kind of a merger or with another firm, so your existing marketing department, R&D department, HR department, IT department would no longer be effective in in that case. So you will be developing a new R&D structure. You will be developing new HR department and policy, because you're going to take a merger. Merger means that your existing position will be lost, and you will be getting some a third kind of or new kind of a business with having with merging with other firm, and your new business will be coming into stream, and then you need to redesign all your structure plans. So this is the functional structure. Functional structure may have some advantages and disadvantages. I think this slide I'm letting you to read it, and this slide is very self-explanatory. There's nothing for me to explain in this slide for you, because there is no technical issues in this slide. So I'm leaving this slide for you. Then the divisional structure, division structure can be on the basis of geographic area, product to service area, by customers, by the processes. Geographic area means that your one office is working in Punjab, your other office is working in Sindh. So in Punjab you are having a team, and similar team you are having in Sindh area. So these structure are called divisional structure. And again, if you are making some bigger strategy, if you are following some bigger strategy, you have to redesign and rethink over this kind of structure. Product or service, your structures or division structure may be on the base of the products. If you see that, let take a example of the hire company. So in hire company, he is making laptops as well. So processing laptop, there is a different division who is working taking care of this production of laptops and mobile. And on the other hand, hire company is also making the washing machines. So for that washing machine, that hire company would be having different kind of equipment plan. And hire is also making ACs, air conditioners. So for that AC plant, there is different kind of a production plan and production manager, and different kind of stuff. So these kind of division is based on the product and service. And again, if you're going to have some kind of bigger strategy, policy, merger, acquisition, acquiring more resources, and keeping more, incorporating more technology, all these kind of policies are there. So you need to think these structure and revise these issues. And by customer, again, this is also be based on some divisional structure by customer. You see that for selling to the product, you are having different team, and for after sales services you are having a different team. So for delivery purpose you are having a different team. So you are serving customer on the basis of your product nature. So this is also called this may be also a division structure on the basis of customer. And you have to rethink or revise if you are taking, or if you are thinking for having a new or something different strategy. And by processes as well, it is again a divisional structure. uh, uh, let's say if you take mm, uh, as an example of automobile industry. So in automobile industry, there are so many division according to the processes. Because if you see that when there is a make of engine is there, so engine making is having a different process that is being done with a different team in a different area or different place. But when thing come up with the structure of car, let's say the body of car, so that is a different issue. Then the spare parts manufacturing, that is the different processes. And the manufacturing of a entire car, where the different spare parts and sub parts are assembled and the car is being made. So that is differently designed. So your structure may be on the base of the processes, and again, if you are making some bigger changes according to your opted strategy, then you have to rethink of this structure again. Division structure is also having advantages and disadvantages, and I'm again letting this slide to you to read this out and understand it. And if you find anything to be cleared or anything which you are not understanding, you may make question to me on WhatsApp. I'll be answering you in my voice note. Strategic business unit structure. So this is what we call SBU. So group similar division into the strategic business units and delegates authority and responsibility for each unit to a senior executive who report directly to the chief executive. If you see that it is a strategic business unit, it means it is similar like a divisional structure on the geographical area. If you see that you are having territory manager. So in Pakistan, there are so much territory managers. In Sindh, you will be having different territory manager. In Punjab, you have the different territory manager. So every territory manager is having own similar team. Obviously, there are some person who are working under the territory manager, so that territory manager is taking care of their subordinates, and similar kind of a team is given to another territory manager of different area. So this SBU is some kind of a similar kind of structure, just as a geographical based structure, division structure. Then the matrix structure is there. Matrix structures mean that the all functions what we have talked about HR and marketing and R&D and IT. So you have these kind of departments, but these departments are not separate departments. These departments are working in one place, and the labor and the employees in these departments can be shuffled up into different departments. IT person can work into HR department as well, and HR employee is working in or supporting to the marketing department. So these kind of a mixed structures or mixed workout is making you a matrix structure. Matrix structure can be strong, matrix structure can be weak. A strong matrix structure is that where you have different departments, but your employee of one department is seldom interrupt into the other department. But when we are saying the weak structure, so weak structure, there are name of the marketing department, HR department there, but their employees, but their subordinates, they are very easily shuffled up into each other. So this is called weak structure. So you have to take care of these things, and when you are going to implement some strategy, when you are going to follow some specific kind of a bigger change, so you need to revise all these things, and you need to revisit these issues. Then again, there is a advantages and disadvantages are there, and I'm letting this slide to you. And if you find something which is making problem for you, and you can ask questions for that particular point into WhatsApp, I'll be answering by my voice note. Okay, restructuring. What we mean by restructuring? We have discussed so many structures: matrix structure, SBUs, divisional structure, functional structure, and I have again and again called you to revisit and restructure or redesign. So what we mean by restructuring? So restructuring may be of downsizing, maybe of right sizing, maybe of delayering. So these kind of restructuring can be done. Downsizing, obviously, you know the downsizing, what we mean, to reduce the employees, to reduce the equipment, to reduce the size of plant size. It is called downsizing. Right sizing mean to have increase the resources, you have to shuffle the resources in an appropriate manner. So this is called right sizing. You keep those people who are not at the well place, you then place them according to their skills and according to their needs. So these are called right sizing. You reallocate resources in finances and money. You take out money from that side where the money is being kept idle, and you use that money into that area where it is needed. So all these things are right sizing. So you need to shuffle, or you need to revisit all the what we can say that in appropriate manner. What you have, what are you following? You have to keep intact with the current situation and current requirements. Then the creating a strategy supportive culture. Now, what is the creating a strategy supportive culture? It means that uh, uh, strategy supportive culture. If you remember that I have told you about the conflict issues, because whenever you go for some specific follow-up of a strategy, so that strategy can might be not liked with other people or other employees. But it means that if some people are not liking your strategy or not liking your policy, so how would they come up with the good results? So it is better to make strategy supportive culture. So how that strategy supportive culture would take place? So that would be formal statement for the organization philosophy, designing for the physical spaces, deliberate role modeling, teaching and coaching, explicit reward and status system, and stories, legends, myths, and pebbles. uh, it means that you follow the strategy and make people motivated for that strategy, and you make some kind of incentives. You make some kind of reward and status systems. You link up all these things with that strategy, that the people would know that following the specific strategy would be beneficial for them, would be having some good results to them. So that's why people would not be conflicting with you. People would be following your opted strategy. And similarly, how your leader pays attention to the issues, and leader reactions are very critical incidents and crises, because if your leader is quite capable and understanding and energetic and charismatic, so he can take out the results from the employees. He can take also care of the conflicts as well. Organizational design and structure, organization system and procedure, and criteria for the recruitment, selection, promotion, all these things are kept into consideration while making a strategy supportive culture, because you redesign your organization structure, you redesign your system and procedures, you redesign for your recruitment selection, because you have taken the new turn, or in phase of opting the strategy. So you need to have some new looks into the organizations. And production and operation decisions, these are very much important issues. What your plant size, your inventory control, your quality control, your cost control, and your technological innovation, all these things are also taken into consideration while making some a bigger change, a bigger strategy. I'm talking again and again, a bigger change, a bigger strategy, because in the chapter number 6 we have seen so many strategies are there. If you want to expand your business, so for expanding your business, your plant size would be changing, your inventory planning would be changed, your quality control would be changed, your cost would be changed, and your technological condition would be changed. So obviously there is a decision is one, but for with that one decision, there are so many required changes are there. Human resource, you need to have assessing staffing, leading and cost. You need to have some new selection method. You need to train your employees. You need to motivate employees. You need to design some kind of work-life balance situation. and you need to select appropriate leadership as well. And this human resource concerns are very much important to be taken into consideration. So my dear fellows, today I have just pointed out and just slightly enlightened the basic issues of organizations that has to be reconsidered, that has to be rethink while you are going for opt or you're going to take some new strategy, some new planning, some new bigger change in the organization. So this slide has been done, this chapter has been done. I'll be sharing this lecture and as well as the slides. So by reading and by following these lecture and slides, you can ask any question anytime into my WhatsApp box, and I'll be answering you by my voice note. So it's up to you. And this is your attendance. I'm taking a snapshot of it. This last minute is going on now. If you have any question that can be answered in last minute, I'll be answering to. But if this 1 minute completed, then our lecture would be completed as well. So I've taken this attendance screenshot. I hope that all the names are very well visible to you. So this is your attendance. Thank you very much. So nice of you. If you don't have any questions, so I'll be taking your pardon. Thank you very much. Bahut shukriya.
Thank you.